Hello dear students, welcome to the second lecture of Living World. Myself Ms. Shah from Kankoli College, Kankoli. Today we'll see the rest of the basic principles of life from the chapter number 1, Living World. Now the first principle we are going to see is the aging. What is aging? Aging, it is the process during which the molecules, organs, systems begin to lose their effective working and become old. Now you can imagine that every organism, when it comes to birth, it undergoes some stages in the lifetime, in the lifespan of their life. That is from childhood, then the adult stage, then the senescence or aging period, and then the death. Now, third stage is the aging period. Aging means here the molecules or the cells from the body, molecules, organs, systems, it start to or it loses its original effective working. That means it becomes weak in the old age. That is the aging period. This aging process, it is not only present in animals. When we say aging, as we are humans, we imagine only the animals, but in living organisms, that is plants as well as animals, both have the aging process. That is the why we say that plants also have the aging process, because we see the plants, the branches or the leaves on the plants, they dry. That is their senescence period, or that is their aging period. They dry and they fall off. That is, they detaches from the branches of the plant. That means that is the aging process, aging period of the plant. Or we can say the flowers or fruits, they are not present for throughout the lifetime of the plant. They fall off, they are detached from the plants. Again the new fruits or new flowers arises on those nodes of the plants, that is on the branches. So that is the aging process in which the molecules, organs or systems, they begin to lose the effective working and they become old. In humans, we can take the example. Here you have the diagram which shows the aging process in one that is a human being. That is the first childhood stage, then the sum of the stages which brings out the adult stage, then the after adult stage, when it undergoes into the aging process, there also have some stages. Then in the old age period, that is it loses, you can see the face over here, that is loses its that is the effective working, and we can see here it becomes old. That is, wrinkles are formed on the face. These wrinkles are not present in the childhood or adult stage, but it is present in the old age, because here the molecules or the organs in the body, they start losing the effective or working in the body. So the face or the body becomes age, that is the old. The next basic principle of life is the reproduction. Now, life has to continue, hence the organism tries to produce young one like itself. Means here, all living organisms, we know that they produce new individuals like themselves. Reproduction is a characteristic of living organism. It is an important characteristic of living organisms, and life has to continue. That is, continuity of race is brought by the process of reproduction in the body, that is in the body of living organisms. It is possible due to reproduction, that is by asexual or sexual method. Organisms reproduce asexually or sexually and produce their own kind. Asexual is most common method in early life. In this method there is no fusion of gametes, so genetically similar organisms are formed. No gametes are used here, or no fusion of gametes takes place. That means no fusion of sperms and egg, as like in the human beings or in the animals. That is, in the sexual reproduction both the gametes are required, but in the asexual reproduction no gametes are required here. No fusion, there is no fusion of the gametes, and so your genetically similar organisms are formed as like the parents in asexual reproduction. This ensures continuity of race by both asexually and sexual reproduction. Now, mules, sterile workers, bees do not reproduce, yet they are living. Now, there is an exception for reproduction. That is, reproduction is not the that is the, we can say, defining characteristic of living organism. Now, defining or non-defining characteristic of living organism means reproduction has the exception. Means there are some organisms, we say that reproduction is present in living organisms, so we can say that they are living. But reproduction has the exceptions here, because there are some animals in the world, that for example mules or sterile worker bees, that is honey bees, they do not reproduce, but they are living. We cannot say they are non-living organisms. They are living, but they are they that is mules. Mules means it is the combination, or it is the fusion of donkey and horse. So that mule which is formed by the fusion of donkey and horse, mule does not reproduce. It is a sterile. It is sterile. It cannot reproduce. So we cannot say it is non-living. It is living, but it cannot reproduce. Or sterile worker bees. Sterile worker bees means what? Worker bees means you must have observed the honeycomb. Honeycomb, it has three types of honeybees in the honeycomb. That means one is the queen, second is the drone, that is the male honeybee, and rest all we see in the honeycomb, they all are the worker honeybees. There are three types. क्वीन हनीबी, क्वीन हनीबी म्हणजे राणी असते, एकच असते ती. आणि दुसरा असतो तो ड्रोन. ड्रोन म्हणजे दॅट इज द मेल हनीबी असतो. मेल म्हणजे त्याचं काम काय आहे? टू फर्टिलाइज द एग्स विच आर लेड बाय द हनीबी, दॅट इज द क्वीन हनीबी. क्वीन हनीबी काय करते? इट लेज ओनली एग्स. आणि ड्रोन हनीबी काय करतो? इट फर्टिलायझेस द एग्स बाय प्रोड्युसिंग द स्पर्म्स. पण राहिलेले जे वर्कर हनीबीज जे आपल्याला त्या हनीबीच्या पोळ्यामध्ये दिसतात, दे आर ऑल वर्कर हनीबीज. आणि अँड दोज वर्कर हनीबीज दे डू नॉट रिप्रोड्यूस, दे आर स्टराईल. फक्त क्वीन आणि ड्रोन हे दोन्ही आहेत ते फर्टाईल आहेत. दॅट मीन्स दे कॅन फर्टिलायझेशन त्यांच्यामध्ये होतं. पण वर्कर हनीबीज जे आहेत त्यांच्यामध्ये फर्टिलायझेशन होत नाही, किंवा ते त्यांच्यामध्ये रिप्रोडक्शन होत नाही. सो वी कॅनॉट से दॅट वर्कर हनीबीज आर नॉन लिव्हिंग. दे आर लिव्हिंग बट दे कॅनॉट रिप्रोड्यूस. Or you can say another example that human that is sterile human beings. Sterile human beings or infertile human beings आपण म्हणतो. Infertile human beings means what? There are some human beings which who cannot reproduce, or they cannot give birth to the young ones. So we cannot say that they are non-living. They are living, but they are infertile human beings. So these are some of the examples of that is the sterile animals. So reproduction has the exception. Not all organisms reproduce. So reproduction is not the defining property or defining characteristic of living organism. So here you have the that is some of the examples, types of asexual reproduction, that is by parthenogenesis, in which the fertilization, without fertilization organisms are produced. Then binary fission, which occurs in that is, you must have seen in the amoeba. Then budding in hydra. For fragmentation occurs, that is in for example Spirogyra. that is fragments are cut and each fragment forms into a new individual. So these are the types of the asexual reproduction. Then you can see here the another diagram which shows the sexual reproduction. That means two organisms are present, that is one is female and one is male. Female produces egg and male produces sperm, and both this, that is sperm and egg they get fusion, that is fusion of egg and sperm takes place, and by the fusion of egg and sperm zygote is formed, that is fertilization process, by fertilization process, and after zygote formation it is formed by cell division, it is formed into an embryo, and then that is a small child forms, that is from the embryo. So that is the sexual reproduction. So in this way sexual and asexual reproduction takes place. Next is the death. As the body loses its capacity to perform metabolism, the organism dies. Means what? Till when the body stops working, that means when the metabolism in our body stops working, because metabolism is the unique property, that is the defining property, defining characteristic of living organism, because each living organism has the characteristic, that is the metabolism, and when the metabolism capacity is stopped, that is it is stopped in the body, the organism dies. That means the death occurs in that organism after that is losing the capacity to perform the metabolism. So metabolism is the defining property, and death occurs when the metabolism stops in the organism. After a period of time, each living organism or each living being dies. Death occurs naturally due to wear and tear. It has no option for the death. If the organism has come to birth, it has to die, that is the natural thing. So death may be natural or accidental. Death is compulsory to all living organisms because it recycles mineral elements and maintain population of every species constant. So that is important in the population. That is natural, or it may take place by accidental. So it is the characteristic of living organism. The next is the very important defining characteristic of living organism is the response to stimuli. Now response to stimuli means any living being responds to thermal, chemical or biological changes in the surrounding. Now when all living organisms from prokaryotes to multicellular higher eukaryotes give response to stimuli, that is changes in environment. That means we respond to the changes in the environment. This stimuli can be physical, chemical, thermal or biological. Thermal, that is we response to the temperature. That means whenever there is a cold, we put on the jackets to overcome that is the cold. So when there is a warm temperature, we put on the fans to adjust in that environment. That is, we are responding to that environment, we are giving response to that stimuli, right? So that is the thermal that is the changes which occurs, or chemical changes or biological changes, the reaction of living organisms to changes in the environment, that is known as sensitivity. That means as we are responding to anything, living organisms respond to anything, that means we are having the sensitivity in our body. The higher animals sense the environment through sense organs. That means plants and animals both respond. Plants respond to external factors like light, water, temperature, other organisms or pollutants, etc., dust particles. Also, there are some that is biotic factors also to which we respond. All organisms therefore are aware of their surroundings. Human being is the only organism who is aware of himself, that is has self consciousness. self-consciousness, it is the defining property of living organism. For example, in plants, you must have seen the plant that is a touch me not, that is the Mimosa pudica, म्हणजे लाजरी. लाजरी ज्यावेळी आपण टच करतो, इट गिव्स अ रिस्पॉन्स, राईट. इट क्लोजेस, आफ्टर सम टाइम अगेन इट opens. That means it is giving response to the touch. So there are some senses in living organisms to respond to give response. That means we are conscious. That means we are having the sense organs in our body. So plants and animals both responses to the stimuli, and both are aware. All organisms are aware of the surroundings. So response to stimuli is the unique property. It is called as the unique property of the that is the living organisms. Why unique property? Because response to stimuli is not present in non-living organisms. For example, table or bench. When we touch the bench or table, it doesn't give a response, right? So in non-living organisms there is no this unique property, that is a response to stimuli. Or we can take the example that ज्यावेळी आपण एक मेणबत्ती असेल आणि त्या मेणबत्ती पेटवलेली असेल आणि त्याच्यासमोर जर आपण हात घेऊन गेलो तर आपल्याला चटका बसला की आपण लगेच हात मागे खेचतो. म्हणजेच काय, वी आर गिविंग रिस्पॉन्स टू दॅट स्टिम्युली, राईट. सो आपल्याला काहीतरी सेन्सेशन होतं, चटका बसतो, म्हणून आपण लगेच हात मागे करतो. म्हणजेच काय, वी आर गिविंग रिस्पॉन्स, वी आर कॉन्शियस अबाउट दॅट. So that is the response to stimuli. All living organisms, the response to stimuli, and that is the unique property of living organisms. So now these all together we can see the basic principles of life. In the last lecture we have seen the two basic principles, that is the metabolism and growth and development. And today in this lecture we have seen four basic principles, that is aging, reproduction, death, and response to change in surrounding, that is response to stimuli. So first basic principles of life, that is metabolism, it takes place by two ways, that is catabolism and anabolism. Second we have seen the growth and development. Then third we have seen the aging process. And fourth is the reproduction, which occurs by two methods, two mode of reproduction takes place, that is asexual and sexual reproduction. In asexual there is no fusion of the gametes, and in sexual reproduction there is fusion of gametes, that is male gamete and female gamete. Then fifth is the death, which occurs in every organism, living organism. And last one is the defining property of the living organism, that is response to stimuli. Now from all these six basic principles of life, metabolism and response to stimuli, these two are the most important, that is the unique properties of living organisms, because both these are the defining properties of living organisms, because these two, they do not have any exceptions. That means metabolism occurs in every living organism, and also response to stimuli occurs in every living organism. So there is no exception for these two characteristics of living organisms. So this is the memory chart of basic principles of life. Now there is immense diversity in living organisms. You know that all the organisms in the world, they are diverse in every habitat. There are number of different organisms present on earth, and they are diverse on earth. Since time immemorial, that is variety of organisms are living together on earth. That is from ancient period, all the living organisms, they are living together on earth. In order to understand the interrelations between living and non-living, as well as between two living beings or groups, systematic study of this is essential. Now, as there are number of millions of organisms present on earth, to understand the relation between the two organisms, that is between the living and non-living, that is biotic and abiotic factors, or between the two living organisms, or between the two groups or two species, we must understand the interrelations between them, and to understand these interrelations or relationship between these organisms, we have to uh, make the systematic study of this all these organisms. We have to arrange, or we have to classify all the organisms in a systematic manner. This data is also important for various industries and agriculture for their studies, for their reference studies. You can have the all the studies between the biotic and abiotic, as well as between the living organisms. Now, intensive laboratory and field studies in order to identify and classify the organisms from strong basis for meaningful use of the collected data. All the organisms which are now intensive laboratory and field studies means what? Wherever you go, if you get a new organism, you classify it, right? You give a name for that so that others can identify that organism. Others, that is the next generation who are studying in the laboratories, they can classify that organism, they can identify that organism by having the reference in the in different books. So that gives a meaningful use of the collected data. If we need to study this diversity, certain aids called that is taxonomical aids can be used. That is, there are different that is aids, taxonomical aids to study these organisms. For example, that is the herbarium or biodiversity, that is biological gardens, museums. So these are different taxonomical aids by which we can study different organisms. So I hope you have understood this topic, that is the basic principles of life from the first chapter, that is living world. Thank you.